The analogy that I spoke on before was that I feel like I beat the game. So if you imagine playing Mario, you beat Bowser, you save the princess. What's left is free roaming.
All the extra
You're just free roaming, right?
Yeah.
And I think the point of beating the game is
Ruslan.
Currently, you are in a very interesting spot where you're 100% independent. You live on a 55-acre farm in Virginia. You are doing 30 million streams a month. Is that accurate? Over 1 billion streams total, right? And you did like 500 million last year or something like that on the Spotify wrap up. Before we get into that, guys, my name is Ruslan, and this channel exists to encourage you to mastermind your business the master's way. May not be subscribed yet, so if you aren't, please hit that subscribe button. All right, now let's get into the video. It was a crazy number when I saw you post it.
Spotify rap was like 360.
So then if you factor in Apple Music and all the others,
ones,
well over
probably,
500 million
probably, yeah.
streams. And, you know, average million streams is like 4 or 5 grand. So people can do the math on what that comes out to.
Yeah, I would say it leans 3,500.
3,500.
Like
Okay.
truly, like if I'm really paying attention to it. But I heard they might start paying us more, so we'll see.
Yeah. So you're in a spot where you're doing very well. You're doing very well from a metric standpoint. You're doing very well from a revenue standpoint. People can, again, do the math on their own. But you've kind of paralleled it to, I've beat the video game. I beat the video. So now, like, you were like, we were talking about TikTok earlier, and you're like, I haven't really been posted on TikTok. I just kind of put the song out, and it does what it does. And you showed a song you had come out Friday. It's at like 300 and something thousand streams, right? Just within a couple of days on its own. And you said you didn't even post anything about the record.
I posted one Instagram reel, but it was like a flop.
Yeah. Talk to me about that. Talk to me about getting to a place of where you felt like you beat the video game.
Yeah. The analogy that I spoke on before was that I feel like I beat the game. So if you imagine playing Mario and you beat Bowser, you save the princess. What's left is free roaming the same game and trying to collect more coins.
Playing like one of the alternate characters.
Sure.
Yeah.
or like if you play all the levels over again and you try to find all the secret passageways.
Yeah.
Or
all the extra coins.
You're just free roaming, right?
Yeah.
And I think the point of beating the game is to be free from the game. And not wanting something is just as good as having it. So I have this like, I don't want any more from it.
Yeah.
And it's a very freeing feeling. And I don't know, I just came to a point where I ran out of people to prove wrong. And not that that's a good thing, but like, it was like, when does it end, right? The goalposts always move. They're constantly moving. You set a goal, you hit it, it moves. You set that new goal, you hit it, it moves. I know whatever goal I set, just off of like a self-belief thing, that I will hit it. I know what I'm capable of. And before I used to feel like if I don't do what I know I'm capable of, that I waste my God-given gift, that I waste talent. And I had this inner battle of like, I know what I'm fine with, but I also know what I'm capable of. And where's the balance in that? Because if I do everything that I'm capable of, a lot of things suffer. Family life suffers. So it's like trying to find the balance in there. And then I just came to that point of just like, I don't want it,
1 Timothy 6 says godliness with contentment is great gain, right? So it's like you found that if godliness is what's anchoring you ultimately, who God wants you to be as a husband, father, creative, entrepreneur, those things. So that's the godliness aspect. But then you have the contentment to be like, I don't really want anything else. You said, what did you say a second ago? You said having it is just as good as not wanting it. Say that one more time.
Not wanting something is just as good as having it.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's really good. So you've landed here now and you've accomplished certain things that people would dream about accomplishing, right? But I want to kind of go a little deeper on like what were the aspects that you tapped into to become the type of guy that can do these things. And this is what I'm saying. I don't know how much people know this about you, but I feel like I know you well to know that like you were at a very high level as a basketball player. You were super jacked at one point from a fitness standpoint, right? So basketball, you're dunking. I've seen you hoop. You're nice. You were jacked up. You were ripped at one point. You were doing these like dude perfect level trick shots,
shots.
right? With the ping pong balls and the bottle flips and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Your arguably the thing that blew you up before your music blew up was a comedy TikTok podcast. You rap well, you sing well, and I'm sure I'm just scratching. So I'm sure there's other little hidden talents and gems and jewels you have, right? But it almost seems like whatever you picked up throughout your life, you were able to become exceptional at, right? Maybe not a savant,
Sure.
10,000 hour brilliant genius, but exceptional enough to you could juggle. Like these are like random skills I discovered. Like, how does this dude know all this random stuff? And you're good at all of it. So what is it outside of the self-belief? Because people have self-belief and they're delusional and they fail all the time.
Absolutely.
I want to extract some of the practical, what is that? And how are you able to pick up, I'm going to master weightlifting and become jacked. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to move on and learn to juggle and do trick flips.
Right.
Okay, cool. Now I'm going to move on and become again, the cinematography business.
Yeah.
You ran a 6-figure cinematography business doing weddings, right? So you're an accomplished entrepreneur. What is that? Like, what is that about Nick? And how are you able to tap into these different things and get so proficient at so many things?
I don't know the science behind it, but I do know that whenever I saw something that I liked or I thought was interesting, I obsessed over it until I got good at it. And what I never did was like, okay, so outside of school, I didn't hang out with people. You know, not really by like, I don't know, not because I didn't have anyone to hang out with. I lived out in the sticks. You know, I was like, my mom was commuting to DC, so I was just at home. So let's call it juggling, just like as an example. I did juggling club in elementary school because I wanted to. And, you know, an hour a week plus 3 hours at home every day of juggling because I thought it was cool. Photography, it was like, I like this, it's interesting. I want to make YouTube videos, now I have to learn. So I studied YouTube videos on how to make YouTube videos basically. And I focused on that. All I did was make videos. Flipping, parkour stuff, whatever I did, it was like, that's what I did from when I got off the bus until it was dark for 2 summers, you know, or whatever. Like, it was just, I didn't go to parties. I didn't drink. I didn't hang out with people. Whatever I thought was interesting, I focused 1,000% of my energy on it until I got good. And I don't like to say bored with it, but I can't think of another way to describe it. But even like with music now, I also kind of feel like I've done it. What's next? Because there's so many lives you can live inside your one life, and people try to like find what they're going to do forever. And that's such a, I don't know, I don't personally like that stigma about life that you
stay in your lane,
right,
find your
it
one
is.
thing to do. And
Or like, I think the reason I was able to do music so long is because I've done like 10 different genres. Because I, you know, sometimes I'll rap for a bit. I love it. That's what inspired me to make music in the first place was hip hop. And then I dabble with other stuff, and then I come back to rap, and then I go, now I'm doing country a little bit here and there. And I have a farm in Virginia, and so it's like, I don't know, man. I really just love.
So let me say this back to you, and you tell me what you think, if this is accurate. You have the right amount of bad things that happen to you, dad's not being in your life, right? The right amount of trauma, but trauma not to the point where it crippled you and it strung you out, but enough to where it put a chip on your shoulder. You were in a unique environment in that your mom was commuting every day, and so you have a lot of alone time. You had access to outlets that were productive, juggling club as an example, right? So you had enough means to be at a school that had a juggling club, right? You had enough means to get your hands on a camera, to get your hands on a laptop, to get your hands on fill in the blank, the tool.
Yeah, and so trampoline. I got really good at flipping. I made parkour videos, and
You're like an onion, bro.
it's wild. So, but the trampoline I purchased myself and built myself. So my mom said, you can have one if you buy it and put it together. Right.
So you went and hustled, scraped together the money. How old were you at this point?
My first trampoline was probably freshman year of high school.
Okay, so you're young. Yeah.
Comes to the video camera. I purchased my first one from Costco with same thing with my own money.
How were you scraping together the money to get that first thing? Because there's a lot of folks that are watching this that probably like all they have is access to the internet.
Yes.
And they don't know how to scrape together.
Okay.
and
Here's a
hustle
cool thing. So I started as a paper shredder at a company.
that. Okay.
And in the copy room where the paper shredder was, the graphic design guy came in to do something. And I said, hey, if you ever need any help, I love to edit videos. And I left it at that. A couple weeks later, I'm now his assistant.
Okay.
And I'm not even that great at the time. But like whatever that was, whatever that, I don't know if it's courage to just say hey, or if it's like, you know, I'm sure I had to plan a couple of my videos or something. This was a long time ago, maybe when I was 17 or 18. That put me in that position. And then through that, and that was for a triathlon company that he was working for. And then through that, I start going to the races. And at the time it was like 5 days away, $1,500. That's the math. I travel, I do the work, I get paid $1,500. I come back home.
Video, or were you doing
This was it was like I was like a gopher. I was like anything that was needed. So if video was needed, sure.
Yeah.
Setting up the expo. I don't want to get too detailed on it. So that was that, and then that's how I got money. Was through that little bit, and I maybe did 10 races a year. 10 times $1,500 is whatever. I'm living. So this is an outlier. I didn't have rent to pay.
So your overhead's low.
My overhead's very low.
You have a lot of flexibility. You're probably fun to be around. Is that fair? Sometimes just being a cool hang is helpful. So you're probably socially adaptive enough to where you can be pleasant to be around. You can engage, or you can kind of play the background.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah, and it's like if you want to be interesting, be interested. So the more you talk to other people and ask them about them, the more interesting they find you. And then that opens doors for in the future. The less that you talk about yourself, the more interesting you become.
That's good. That's good. Were you hip to like flow state and skill stacking and talent stacking and all that stuff early on? Or is that like kind of like now you're hearing about these concepts later, Atomic Habits, right? All these things have come out. And looking back in hindsight, and you're like, oh, that's kind of what I was doing all along. I was developing entry-level skills, stacking on top of the entry-level skills, and then developing more elite-level skills.
Yeah. And the first time I heard the term skill stacking was from you. And I still haven't read Atomic Habits yet. You told me I need to read it. But yeah, looking back on it, that's absolutely. I have everything that I did was just another piece to the puzzle of doing what I'm doing now. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
And it'll continue to keep going. Like I started writing some children's books. My first one's illustrated. I'd love to show it to you after this.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Wrote a book for artists on how to make a living making music. Like all this. I'm like, okay, now I kind of want to do this educational side. And then now I have 2 kids. I want to write children's books, but also want to write them at a time where they're still interested in reading them and not wait until they're grown up. So it's like, all right, let me pivot. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not like doing a lot of music content. I still love to make it, love to make music, love to put it out, but I don't love promoting it. That's just where I'm at.
Thank you so much for watching that video. Guys, I believe that one of the best ways you can build a business is by first building a platform online. So Zach Sparazzo puts together a free training for you on the #1 metric you can be looking for to explode your YouTube platform. Click the link in the pinned comment below so you can start that now. All right? I'll see you over there. Peace.